Hey guys, it's Rumblin' Man here on YouTube today. I want to welcome you to the Rumblin' Man channel, and I want to say, what in the world is this thing? Don't know, but we're going to find out in a minute, so make sure you stick with me. So guys, again, welcome to the Rumblin' Man YouTube channel today. This is a guitar and bass channel where we look at guitars, basses, gear, everything related. So if you love this kind of content, do me a favor and hit subscribe and go on and click the thumbs up button because I already think you'll like the video. At least I really hope you will. And if you want to be notified every time I come out with a new video, you can click the bell as well and they'll email you and update you. And I'd love for you to watch all my videos if you want. Today's video is part of my Vintage Artifact series right here on the Rumblin' Man channel. This particular video series, we look at guitars and basses that are no longer made, but usually have something kind of cool to them, usually kind of a cool story to them, and we celebrate them. We look at things from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even more recent in this series. But today's object of focus is coming straight out of 1986. Reagan was president. Unfortunately, the Challenger spaceship, I was born, and this bass came out. But I mean, there was more good than bad. There was more good than bad. That said, Ibanez was rocking and rolling and still is. But, some of Ibanez releases kind of scratch my head. I scratch my head at Ibanez a lot. I have a love-hate relationship with Ibanez. And the reason is I love so many of the guitars and basses that Ibanez has come out with over the years and still produces today. But there's other things that really make me scratch my head. Ibanez will come out with some instruments over the years that I just kind of scratch my head and I say, why Ibanez? Why that? And in this case, why Ibanez? Why this shape? Why? And then also Ibanez will sometimes discontinue things and I'll scratch my head and say why. Like a couple things we looked at in this video series, the ATK 300 bass, the RB999, which was a very cool, double humbucker, Rickenbacker looking bass. I don't really know. I can't climb inside of Ibanez's head and see why they do the things they do, but I'm always down to celebrate their products, whether it's a product of theirs that I really think is cool or not. As of today, I am going to tell you what I think of this bass. But first, I want to introduce it to you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like for you to meet what is known as the Bean bass. The only thing is, I wonder why they call it the Bean bass. Why do they call it that? Why do people say that? Could it be that it's the shape of a giant bean? Could that be why? Why Ibanez? Why a bean? Of all things, why not a snowflake or something? Why a bean? I don't know why a bean, but we are going to talk all about this bass today. I'm going to do some more demos of it for you. I'm also going to tell you what I personally think about the playing experience and the build quality of this 1986 bass. But first, I want to take a look a little bit at the history because we can't climb inside of Ibanez's head and see what made them make the decision to sketch out and produce this design. But we can kind of look at the history at the time and how this bass came to be in relation to other products. So let's dive in real quick. In 1979, Ibanez introduced their all-new Musician series of guitars and basses, which included two bass models, one which had a single pickup and the other which had two pickups. And then in the following 2 years, Ibanez expounded upon these models by adding more basses of similar construct to the Musician line, which even included a fretless and a left-handed offering, among others. But in 1984, however, things seem to have gotten a little more adventurous in the Musician series as Ibanez introduced, under the Musician line, the MC888. This was the first ever bean bass, which presumably earned its street name because of its bean-like shape. This was a passive bass guitar that had a humbucker pickup in the neck and a single coil pickup in the bridge. And while it does remain an heirloom for many a bass player, this bass appears to have only been produced for the duration of 1984 and was no longer on the price list as of 1986. And by 1988, the Musician basses in general were a thing of the past. But while the Musician series basses crashed and burned, the bean bass shape made a reappearance in 1986 in Ibanez's successful Roadstar 2 series. This is the model we're looking at today, the RB999. This time, the bass was active, running on a 9-volt battery. It features Ibanez's low B pickup in the neck, accompanied by a low BS single coil pickup in the bridge. The controls include a volume, a tone, and a balancer control, and these controls are located near the Accuracy Cast B2 bridge. The bass was available in 2 different finishes, polar white and then gun metallic, which is the one we're looking at today. So I want to set my feelings about this bean-like shape aside and tell you what I really think of the build quality and playing experience of this bass, so you can know in case you ever come across one or just in case you're curious. But first, what I want to do is I want to demo the pickups for you in the 3 different pickup positions. With the balancer knob, we will go from the neck pickup to both pickups to the single coil in the bridge. The interesting thing is that this is an active bass that runs on a 9-volt battery. But the controls are not active controls. The controls are passive controls. So I have to presume that these pickups that Ibanez released are active pickups themselves. And Ibanez at the time was very proud of their low impedance pickups. And that's what these are. So let's see how they sound by themselves. I'm going to play each one as we just discussed. And the only effects you're going to hear are a little bit of reverb, and then we are simulating a GK amp. Let's check it out. it's interesting because, you know, the bass has a small frame. In fact, if we really look at its shape and look at it side by side with some of the other basses that were coming out from Ibanez in its day, it can seem though as if the Bean bass is simply a scaled down version of Ibanez's other basses. One can only conjecture that Ibanez wanted to offer something for players who wanted a short scale or miniature bass, whether it's a female bassist or even a big old guy who just likes to play a smaller guitar. And the funny thing is that though it looks like it's probably awkward to play, it's actually not awkward to play. It's pretty comfortable. And the two coolest things about this bass to me are, number one, it's a small frame. It's a small canvas with a huge tone. My favorite position is with the tone full on and listening to both pickups at the same time. In the rock demos we heard today, that's how I was playing it, you know, and had a couple other effects in there as well. But it's got a big sound to it, you know, a sound you could really use, especially in the rock genre. And I could see why players of that time would want to use something like this. And then my other favorite thing about it is this bass I'm holding right now. This bass and I are the same age. Okay, we were born the same year, and it is in better condition than I am. It has stayed in better shape than me, and may even be a little prettier than me. I don't know. I'm actually really impressed with the build quality of this bass. Just to give you a little tour, it's got the same finish all over. You know, the finish runs through the back. Something interesting is in the 80s, things were still being built with a little more quality than today. The cavity for the 9-volt battery is metal and opens using a screw. Now, obviously, this design was later replaced in basses by, plastic designs that we have now. While plastic is a cheaper, more breakable material, it's probably better that, we didn't have to continue using a screw to access basses, because what happens if you strip the screw? You don't want to do that. The back plate, made in Japan, obviously as a Japanese bass, almost anything that comes out of Japan is killer quality. All the acoustics I play are Japanese made. One of my main electrics is Japanese made. One of these days I'll get a Japanese bass. But it's just a testament to the great build quality that you see come out of Japan. Not only then, but now. The finish looks excellent. Obviously, there's a couple nicks here and there. It's an old bass. It's as old as me. And also, the hardware is just absolutely killer. The B2 bridge, I mean, it looks amazing. It looks like no one's ever even made an adjustment on it. It's just rock solid. I think this bridge could hold up for 100 years. And then we also have Ibanez's smooth B2 tuners. And I gotta say, these tuners are incredible. They are some of the most killer tuners I've ever used. The way you adjust them, they're precise. They're really great. They have the screws on the end, so you can tighten or loosen them if you'd like. But they're just absolutely killer. And then the neck feels great. You know, this finish is kind of a gloss finish. And it just fits in your hand so smoothly. It's very comfortable to play, and you could probably play it for hours at a time and really enjoy the heck out of it. Me personally, because I'm not a huge fan of the shape, it's not a bass that I would ever play live, but I personally would totally play this bass in the studio just because of the cool sounds you can get out of it and just the way it held up so well. It's just a testament to Japanese craftsmanship and to the great basses that Ibanez was producing in the 1980s. Particularly under the Roadstar 2 line. So what do you think? Have you ever played a bean bass? Did you ever have one? Did any of today's history research resonate with you? Any memories? Any cool stories? Let me know in the comments of this video. I would love to chat gear and history with you, as they are two of my very favorite subjects. A big shout out and a thank you to a good friend of mine, Low End Lobster, who is another YouTuber right here on YouTube. Low End Lobster actually owns this bass, and he very kindly sent it to me to review today in our Vintage Artifacts series. So, Low End, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if anyone out there enjoyed this video today, please give me the thumbs up button so YouTube will be more likely to place this video in searches for this bass and similar things. Also, go on and subscribe to the Rumbling Man channel if you haven't yet, and click the bell so that you'll be notified as soon as I come out with new videos. We got some cool things coming up, some noiseless jazz bass pickups, some basses, guitars, more vintage artifacts, so it'll be really cool. And then on the end screen in just a moment, you'll see one of the thumbnails will be to this series, the Vintage Artifacts series, which you're welcome to watch through and look at some of the other Ibanez bases we've checked out and the various things we've checked out from over the years in the Vintage Artifacts series, okay? So guys, thanks so much for checking out this video today. Really appreciate you giving me a watch. God bless you, and I will see you in the next edition of Vintage Artifacts. All right? Peace out.